Hey, welcome back to session 4 of level 1 training for Sex Addiction Recovery Association in association with the Transformed Hearts Training Institute. So as we go through these, we're getting more and more of the meat and potatoes of this. As I mentioned before, what is addiction? And many of you are familiar with Brene Brown. Highly recommend all her stuff. A lot of people are, Corey, where do you get all this information? Where's the proof? To be honest, I don't have the time, the resources to do research. So when I find people out there doing the research, complementing what we do here, Brene Brown, Joe Dispenza, Gottman, all this research out there really lines in tune of what we do here at SARA. So again, addiction in itself is chronic numbing. If you're human in this day and age, you most likely have some form of an addiction. Your addiction might just be more socially acceptable than others. Okay. In what ways do you chronically numb? Binge watching Netflix, food, social media, checking out. Okay. Mentally, emotionally checking out, especially when you're bored. Okay. Big red flag. So how is sex addiction different than love addiction? So one of the examples I give is, think of climbing a mountain. We got a lot of mountains out here in Colorado. So climbing up the mountain is the journey with someone. So if you're one that isn't so much about sex and more about the relationship going up the mountain, but you've never not been in a relationship, and let's say since the age of 14, 16, you're always in a relationship, your clients, even before the ink is dried on the divorce papers, they're in another relationship. Most likely you have a love addict. Okay. And this is not gender specific. I know a lot of people associate love addiction with women, sex addiction with men. Not necessarily true. Okay. Especially in this day and age. The sex addict sits more at the top of the mountain, enjoys the big orgasm, wants the pornography, doesn't matter who they're having sex with, might be opposite gender, might be same gender. Okay. It's just for the release. Okay. So love addict is more the journey up the mountain, more about relationship than sex. Sex addict, more about the sex than the relationship. Okay, just very kind of macro understanding. Okay. So I often ask clients, do I have a problem? Okay, does my client have a problem? Does this behavior they are showing causing them problems? Okay, again, you're going to get a lot of resistance with this word addiction. I don't always say I like the word addiction either, especially people just starting out, especially sex addict. People do not like that because people unknowingly, unconsciously, I think, associate that with pedophilia. Pedophiles generally are sex addicts. I've worked corrections, worked with sexually deviant populations. But I will say not all, in fact, most sex addicts, male or female, are not pedophiles. Okay. So breaking through the denial of any addiction or any client or partner that you're working with. Okay. And that's why my ego doesn't get too hung up on this word addiction. I'm not going to live and die on that mountain. And as a clinician, you're going to have to learn to unattach yourself from getting your clients to think and believe and see the way that you see things or believe. Okay. And so next slide, we'll talk about that a little bit. So if You're human. Again, you're an addict. Some addicts are just more socially acceptable than others, and then the addiction can simply be defined as chronic numbing. All right, let's go to the next slide. So, do I have a problem? So, this is a way to begin to chip away at that denial, that minimization, that justifying, rationalizing you're going to get with most addicts and their partners. Okay. So, does my behavior, fill in the blank, cause me a problem in any of the following areas? I call this behavior X. Okay. And now specifically, I know we're talking about sex addiction, but so there's sexual behaviors. It might be drinking. Okay. You might also begin to see a lot of alcoholics. Again, they don't like that word. Okay, not a big deal. But does my drinking, does my time on my phone, does my shopping, overspending, whatever. So is this behavior causing problems with my work, my job, my career? Is it causing me a problem with my money? Okay. No, I got plenty of money. Job's great. Legal status, ever been arrested? Financial problems with the IRS. Health problems is the next one, the fourth one. So health and syphilis, gonorrhea. Okay, no, never had that. I don't have any legal issues. But it's usually the last one, a relationship or relationships, with their higher power, family, friends, spouse, partner, kids, parents. It's generally, I would say 95% of the time why someone's going to be in your office is this last one. Okay, and if you have a problem with any of these, okay, then let's work on that. And that's where you get the buy-in with the people you're working with. Okay, well, I'm here in your office today because yes, this behavior is causing me a problem with my partner. Okay, 95%, 100% of the time, that's why they're sitting there in front of you. Okay. So the three laws, I call this, regardless if you agree with this or not, there's natural, legal, or lawful, and then spiritual. So the example I give when I'm working with, especially individuals, working with getting them involved, and this is also in our workbooks, is, let's say, the law of gravity. I don't believe in the law of gravity. I wake up one day, climb a 6, 7, 8-story parking garage, and I jump off. Okay, because I believe I can fly, flap my arms. Maybe I got a device, one of those suits, and I come crashing down. Okay, just because I don't believe in the law of gravity doesn't mean gravity doesn't have an impact on me physically, right? And it can be positive or negative as well. Polarity, male, female. Okay, that's another natural law. Don't have to agree with it, don't have to understand it, but it does affect the relationship. Written some blogs on this recently. We'll get into more of that later. Legal laws of government or policies. Colorado, many years ago, marijuana was legalized, starting to get more legalized nationally and globally. But there's parts where you go around the country, around the world, that it may not be legal. And just because it's legal here in Colorado, the US, may not be legal in your state, province, country. And I get stopped or pulled over, they don't care about Colorado or US law. Okay, you got to follow the rules and laws of that place you're in, state, province, country. Okay, speeding, you name it. Okay, spiritual laws of karma, reaping and sowing. You get what you give. You may not agree with it, but it still has an impact on you. Okay. So this is another way to kind of help your clients begin to chip away and understand cause and effect. Okay. Consequences to choices. Okay. The pain they are causing themselves and others. Another one, an example of what I call a fireplace. Sex is like a fireplace. And a fire that is in the fireplace is safe, okay? But I believe I can take one of those hot burning coals or logs out, put it in my closet, put it under my bed. But I leave it there long enough, it's going to cause smoke damage, maybe even burn my house down, okay? Impact my family. So, regardless if you disagree where a fire should burn, there will be consequences. Same with sex. Okay. I love the study of words and what's known as etymology. You're going to talk and learn here a lot about shame. And this known as toxic shames, talked about, whole books written on it out there in the recovery world. And shame is a sham, I call it. Kind of blogged on this. We usually think of shame as a humiliating emotion of disgrace. But if you break the word down, you have the word sham-e or sham-me. Sham, the root word, means a false me, a falsehood, a hoax. The prefix sha or shah with a hyphen a in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance 8173 can mean bogus or a thing that is not what is purported or supposed to be. It's false. So further, it can mean to smear over, to blind, to be blinded, smear over one's eyes, to blind oneself. It can also mean to delight in, to be fondled, to delight in oneself. Now, this sounds familiar. Could this sounds similar to masturbation? Why masturbation is related to shame. Therefore, is shame a form of mental masturbation? Think about it. I think that's a great definition. When people are in shame, they mentally rehearse, blind themselves, repeat over and over and over again, beating themselves up. Okay? Shame is a sham. It's a form of mental masturbation. So the masturbation or no-fab movement and the brain. Just a little background. What you train your body and your brain to is what it will crave. Okay? What you look at, think about, or fantasize about while stimulating yourself is what you will sexually glue to. So when you view porn and masturbate, male or female, there's a high amount of enkephalin and endorphins that dump to your prefrontal cortex. Okay. Also, the bonding chemical oxytocin is given off. Okay, not only during sex, it's known as a love chemical, but it's also giving off during the nursing of a mother and her child. Okay. But during sex, this causes a bonding to your fantasy man or woman. There's a great YouTube blog out there, or clip video on, it's called Sex Will Make You Stupid. And it's talking about this idea of oxytocin. Why is it so many men or women know they're in a bad, toxic, codependent relationship, but can't leave? Why can't I get out of this relationship? Okay. It's due to oxytocin. Okay. Am I really in love with them, or am I just responding to conditioned chemicals? So what'll happen is if a man or woman masturbates to what we call fantasy man, fantasy woman long enough, it is what your body, mind, prefrontal cortex, or the autonomic nervous system subconsciously will crave. Okay. So even if you're married and with a partner, okay, and this is where pornography for the man or woman, is conditioned the body and mind to fantasy man or fantasy woman, and maybe they run into them at work, okay, and they're in a serious relationship, and this is where ding, 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 a match. And the person believes, what? I think I married the wrong person, or I'm in a wrong relationship. Okay, is that love or just chemical training? Okay. And this is why so many people get addicted. And then that relationship, that programming, ring the bell, feed the dog, view the porn, masturbate or fantasize and masturbate, self-stimulate to that person walks into their life and they think, bam, they're in love. Most likely not. That's lust. In love or in lust. All right. Whether it's, I call it ejaculation addiction, masturbation addiction, but Western versus Eastern understanding of sex, very, very different. Western is very quick, orgasmic, reaching orgasm. Eastern is about slowing down, healing, energy connection, the polarity of the positive and negative. So especially for men, when they ejaculate, why does our culture encourage, normalize to ejaculate quickly and often? Okay, it's to keep you stupid, to keep your energy low and your vibrational frequency low. Okay, what are the health, spiritual, relational benefits of internal ejaculations versus external ejaculation, especially for men? Okay, this is also known as tantric sex. You can check out resources by Diane Robinson and David Dita has some really good stuff. So again, I'm not going to get too much into this yet. This will be more in level 2 and 3 training. I've blogged about this. It's called Unlearning Sex. So check it out. So for sobriety, what is sobriety? So sobriety for sex is different than drugs or alcohol. The goal for drugs or alcohol is that, I'm never going to use drugs or alcohol again. Okay. The difference between that sobriety is a substance coming in versus sex. Okay. Intimacy is a part of me. Okay. Lust, sobriety from lust. How do I change my brain, my heart? Okay. It's different. So we define sobriety for masturbation or lust as no pornography, no masturbation or fab, okay, 2 pornography, no sex outside of monogamous relationship or marriage, and semen retention for men. Okay. This is what we call acting out sobriety. As we get further into this training, we're going to learn about anorexia and what we call acting in sobriety. So a lot of mistakes that I see couples make is couples do not understand the 3 types of masturbation. I'm not saying not 3 ways. People think I say ways. No, 3 types. So there's type A, B, and C. Type A is about 5 to 10% of the population that never masturbate. Type B masturbate slowly, low frequency, connect with their body, about 20%. The remaining 50-60% masturbate what we call type C or level 3, stage 3. And that is the ring the bell, feed the dog, view the porn, masturbate. Okay, the one that destroys intimacy. Okay, great for fantasy woman and the individual, but disastrous for marital or monogamous relationship. Okay. So why pornography is so harmful in the monogamous relationship? Because the male pornography over sexualizes women. But there's also female porn over emotionalizes men. So these are, your love novels. I don't care if they're even daytime dramas. I don't care if they're even religious or Christian love novels. It's female porn. Okay. That's exactly what it is. It over emotionalizes men. Male porn over sexualizes women. The four rules we'll get into for amazing, mind-blowing sex eventually. Again, we are not the victimized women, shame men model. Codependency is also known as two ticks and no dog. Okay, it just drains, sucks the life out of neither one giving, just taking. Okay, the two empty cups idea, I've blogged on that. I'll talk about that more in a codependency session. And then there's law of attraction in wanting a healthier partner. Okay, everybody wants a healthier partner. The problem is, and why people keep leaving a monogamous relationship or marriage, getting remarried, and finding the same guy or gal, same issues, different name. What's going on here? So a lot of people, they on a scale, they want like 100. Okay, I want a person that's like a level 100 and they're a 50. Okay, you're only going to attract a 50. Okay, if you want 100, you become 100 and you will attract that. Okay, I have individuals make a list of who their perfect partner is going to be. Okay, make a list, what they look like, character qualities, interest, hobbies, activities, you name it. And then the kicker is now you become that person. Okay, that's how you attract a healthier partner. That you become the person you would want to find in a partner. Okay, you get healthier. That's the only way out of it. This is one of those spiritual laws. It's inescapable. The other thing couples need to understand is, what is the ego? Starting to learn about that through this training, what the addiction to being offended is about. Got a good dose of that on earlier. I think level session 2, we talked about that. What intimacy anorexia is and how it's the silent killer to a monogamous, especially a married relationship. We'll get into that. What forgiveness really is, how to have deep intimacy without sex. Okay, we'll work on intimacy exercises outside the bedroom, understanding what I call the daily 5, the 5 dailies exercises, and how to restore trust quickly. And a lot of couples don't know this, and this is why you're here. You should know sex addiction is not in the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health. Okay, I don't care what version you have. I know it's debated, talked about. The APA is looking to get it in there, I think, eventually. Most people don't know that alcoholism, substance abuse was not in the DSM for decades. Okay, did that mean there were not alcoholics? No. Okay. The DSM is trying to keep up with what's going on in the real world. A lot of what we do here in SARA, one of these is not in the DSM. Anorexia isn't either. Okay. There are other things like intimacy, anorexia, but not that specifically. We'll get into that in the next training. But what you will find is things in the DSM related to sex addiction is anxiety, compulsive disorders, premature ejaculation, substance abuse, sexual dysfunction, exhibitionism, pedophilia, fetishism, paraphilia, sexual masochism, sadism, voyeurism, gender identity issues, etc. Okay. But again, don't believe anything Corey says. Seek the truth for yourself. I am wanting you to think for yourself. Okay. But again, just because sex addiction isn't in the DSM doesn't mean it's an issue. All right, and that's the end of session 4 slides. I appreciate you all being here, taking the time. I'm grateful. Hopefully you're learning some new things, taking some notes as we continue together on this journey. And we'll see you in session 5.